Let's talk about plugins. So I know I made the analogy of how themes are like iPhone apps in that they are made by an independent developer or company. They have ratings, different versions that can be released. But themes mainly have to do with the look of the site, the kind of the skin. With plugins, they have a lot of those same uh, similarities as apps. They're made by an independent developer or company. They have different versions. They have reviews. But plugins can pretty much do anything, similar to iPhone apps. You can get an iPhone app that doesn't just affect the look and feel of your home screen, for instance. You can get an iPhone app that does anything that allows you to edit photos. And with plugins, you can get plugins that actually will affect the look of your site, but you could get plugins that do anything. You can get a plugin, for instance, that's a calculator. You can get plugins for widgets. You can get a plugin that adds an email capture form to your website. So with plugins, it allows you to do pretty much anything, and that is what makes plugins so valuable. To get plugins and find plugins, you just go to plugins and then add new. And then here, very similar to themes, we have featured, popular, recommend. You can search for plugins, and these are all going to be free. All the ones you find on here are free. And just like themes or apps, there's free ones, but a lot of times the free ones to have unlock certain features you have to pay. And there's also paid plugins. Although you can't find paid ones on here, you can go onto Google and find premium plugins that are paid. And to upload those, it's just like with themes. You just come up here to upload plugin, and then you would download the zipped plugin and upload it through here just like we do with themes. Let's go ahead and install a couple plugins and just play around with them. So to install a new plugin, just come up here to add new. And I want some social share buttons to share my content. I'm going to search in here. And this one's got some pretty good ratings, so let's just install this. Okay, and just like themes, it's now installed, but it won't be live on my website till I actually activate it. So let's activate that plugin. And also similar to themes, the way you edit a plugin will depend on the plugin itself. They're all going to be a little bit different because they're made by different developers. So sometimes it'll be under settings. You'll find something having to do with a certain plugin. In this case, with social share buttons, it created a little button here on its own on the left. So I'm assuming this is where we go to edit it. So let's click in here. And yeah, that's where we edit it. But before we do any editing, let's just see if it did anything to our site. So let's go to our site. And as you can see, it has put these social share buttons here on the left. And it's not really a good place because we have widgets there for this theme, so it's kind of interfering with those widgets. So let's see what we can do to edit it to maybe make it look better. So we'll come back. Maybe we don't want to show as many of these. Let's take out Stumble Upon and Delicious, and we'll put it on the right. And we'll put it up higher. So right now it has 100 pixels in between the top. So let's put that higher. We'll put that just to 10 pixels. Hit Save Changes. Now we'll look at our site, hit refresh. As we can see, it's taken out the Stumble Upon and Delicious buttons, and it's way up higher, and it's on the right side, but it's still kind of interfering with some of our widgets on the right, so maybe it's not good for this theme. So if that's the case, then we just try a different plugin. So if we don't want to use this plugin anymore, we don't have to delete it because maybe we end up wanting to use it later. We can just go ahead and deactivate it. And usually when you deactivate it, it'll keep your settings. So these are our settings, right? We have it, the buttons appearing on the right-hand side. They're a little higher. There's no Stumble Upon, no Delicious buttons in there. But sometimes if you deactivate it, it will lose those settings. If you delete it, and almost always the plugin is going to delete any settings that you had. But if you deactivate it, usually it'll keep them. Sometimes it won't though. So let's see what happens with this one. So we deactivate it. So now if I refresh my site, it's It's not active, so it's not affecting my site. Let's go back and activate it again though. Now let's hit refresh. And see, the buttons are on the left again. The stumble upon and delicious buttons are back. It's at 100 pixels from the top, so it erased all of the settings. So depending on the plugin, sometimes it'll keep your settings, sometimes it won't when you deactivate it. If you delete it though, pretty much always it's going to delete all your settings. So if we deactivate that, and let's get another plugin, because this plugin didn't fit our needs. So go back to add new, type in social share buttons. And this one has really good ratings, quite a few downloads. We can see more detail about it by just clicking here, more detail. And here's a description. Installation, we can see screenshots, so screenshots of the plugin in action, and this actually looks better suited for our site because it looks like we can put share buttons right here, right below the title, and not just on the side where it was blocking our widget. So this is probably better for this theme. So let's install this. Go ahead and activate the plugin. Now let's refresh our site. So the other plugin with the side buttons is deactivated, so we can't see anything, but doesn't look like it's showing any other share buttons. That's because we haven't configured it. And again, how you configure each plugin is going to be completely different based on each plugin, just like a theme. How you edit one theme is going to be different than how you edit and customize another theme, because they're made by different developers. So we have just this one active. This is the new one. And it looks like right here is where we customize the plugin. So let's click on that button. Okay, so display content, yes, new. These are the ones that are clicked. Let's add LinkedIn and save changes. Let's go here, style. I like these kind of buttons. It looks like this is what the buttons are actually going to look like. We want them, let's put them below our content. Margins is fine. Save changes again. Okay, do we want it to display on the home page? Let's say no. Archive, no. Display on excerpt, no. And we want it to show on posts and pages, so let's hit save changes now. Help and upgrade, there's nothing in here. Okay, so let's hit refresh. Okay, we're on our home page and still no social buttons, but we did say we didn't want it to display on home page, and we didn't want it to display on excerpts, and this is just an excerpt of this post of Hello World, and it's on our home page, so it's not going to show. If you actually click on the actual post, now here, see, this is the full post. It shows the comment and everything, and now it has the social share buttons because we wanted it to show on any post and any page. So let's look at sample page. There should be social share buttons as well. And yeah, there they are. So after all the content at the bottom, just like we specified, it's showing the different buttons that we wanted it to show. Remember the first time when we put this plugin in, and obviously it doesn't look good because it's blocking this widget here on the left. This is an example of why you should use subdomains or a testing environment, such as dev.yoursite.com, because then you can make these changes. You can test out plugins or themes, whatever it may be, on that testing environment. And so if it looks really bad, people who are viewing your site aren't going to see how bad it looks. So if you have a site that has 100 people visiting it every day, well, if you test out this plugin, someone might be in the middle of reading something and they go to a new page and all of a sudden these are covering all the widgets on the left and it looks bad. So that's one reason, an example of why you should use subdomains like dev.yourdomain.com and test out plugins, test out themes on there first, and then if it works and once you get it how you like it, then on your actual website you can implement them. Plugins are what really set WordPress apart. There's other services like Squarespace or other platforms like that allow you to get really beautiful themes and add content very easily, but no other platform has near as many plugins as WordPress. And that's because WordPress allows anyone to make a plugin. And so you have plugins for pretty much any function, and there's thousands of them. Again, with the analogy of the iPhone, the fact that Apple allowed independent developers and companies to make apps has made all the difference, because there are tons and tons of apps, and if you could only use apps made by Apple, your experience would be pretty limited. But the fact that anyone can make an app and that you can use any app made by anyone, it really makes the possibilities on your iPhone pretty much endless. So same goes for WordPress. So plugins allow you to add tons of functionality and flexibility to your website, and you don't have to know how to code. You can just install the different plugins. But even if you do know how to code, plugins are still awesome. And let's look at why. So if we look at this easy calculator that I installed earlier, it took me, about a minute to set up. I had to install it and then just put the widget where I wanted. That was it. And then it was live on my website and worked just fine. If I were to code this by hand and then make it look pretty, that would take hours and hours. So plugins save us a ton of time. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. If someone's already built an awesome tool, we may as well use the code that they have, and that's what plugins allow us to do. So they give us tons of functionality without knowing how to write code, but in addition, they save us a ton of time because we're reusing a tool that someone's already built out.